Today, let's simplify the Yeti Smash at Town Hall 13 and how you can earn more 3 stars every single time. What's good, my friends? My name's Corrupt. Let's simplify how you can use Yetis at Town Hall 13 by first starting off with the first attack, the Yeti Smash. Normally, this is a very easy strategy to replicate. All you want to do is you want to mainly start off with a Warden walk on one side. That way you're able to get through one side of the base. You can get rid of key objectives like a scatter shot, maybe a multi-inferno or a single inferno, the town hall, or even the eagle artillery. Those can be huge value for you as you start to move through. Along with this, you can also use the siege bearer, king, and witches to create the other side of the funnel in order to make sure that you're able to get all of your Yetis to go right the way into the core. So to start off, you want to actively create the funnel with your Warden by also using other troops such as baby dragons to make it a little bit easier. The main goal here is to establish a small funnel that is going to still allow you to move through the base with the Yetis. Therefore, you're going to be able to cut out a particular area. Now, you don't need a level 50 Warden to do this attack. You can even have a level 38 Grand Warden and still get through. So the benchmark is at least having between a level 35 and a level 50 Warden if you want to do a Warden walk. You will be able to start creating the funnel on the opposite side once your Warden gets close to taking down the eagle artillery. Since you don't really want to wait all too much to get through the eagle, you want to be able to start off your siege barrack and king once it's almost taken down around half health. That way you can use the siege barrack along with the witches and the king to create the funnel. This is where you will be sending in the rest of your Yetis, at least within the Warden aura. That way you're able to lure him over and move through with his support. That way you're also able to have the queen move around along with the bowlers. Now the first goal here should be to get through this by using a rage spell and a jump spell to start moving into the core. That way you can also then use the Grand Warden ability. It's very important that you do this because you're going to be taking massive damage from everything. Scatters, expos, infernos, the CC. So you want to be able to get through it with no problem. And using the rage spells in order to boost the Yetis as they start to move through is incredibly important. Because you want to be able to get to the town hall, and even if they miss it, you do still have one thing to your arsenal, the Royal Champion. That way what you're able to do is use the RC with maybe some Yetis in the CC or Hog Riders to get over towards the Town Hall with no problem. The main goal here is just to easily move through, and the Royal Champion can take down a fairly weakened already Town Hall and easily still use the RC ability to stay alive. That way you're still able to easily move through with no problem. The RC is really nice to have on the back end, and it really does help out the Yeti Smash a lot. If you're able to use Hog Riders in the CC, I would highly recommend that. Hog Riders in the CC with the Royal Champ will allow you to get a lot more value, of course, unless you're entering right the way in towards the Town Hall. A lot of the time, your Yetis and bowlers will all die out. So you do need to be very aware of that, but most of the time, with them tanking, you will have your Archer Queen and Grand Warden still up, being able to clear through the rest of it, and whatever CC troops, even if you have Yetis in the clan castle, you will be able to get through it with no problem whatsoever. It's a very simple way to see this attack. Now, you may struggle at first with this, but you will still be able to easily get the 3-star with the Yeti Smash, but also let's go over some other unique variations that you may want to try out next. A different version of the Yeti Smash is by adding those spammy witches with the Yetis to make the Yeti Witch Smash. This is a very simple attack. Unlike a Zap Witch, you are using 8 earthquake spells, which sounds like a lot of earthquakes. All you want to do is use the earthquakes to open up most of the base for everything. This is including the witches and the Yetis. Normally what you're going to be doing is you're going to create the funnel by using a Yeti and about 2 to 3 witches on either side. That way what you're able to then do is then use the rest of the Yetis and the witches to start moving in. Now, normally I would recommend using the log launcher on the Eagle artillery. However, if the Eagle and the Town Hall are not aligned, you may want to go ahead and use this for something like a scatter, then an inferno, and then of course the Town Hall. That way you have an easy lane for Yetis with a rage spell to move right the way in. Outside of that, you want to first start with the earthquake spells. You can do this later if you like, but you want to start with the 8 earthquakes. 4 on one particular side, then you could use 4 on another one. You can activate the Town Hall if you would like with the 8 earthquake spells, but normally I would recommend trying to just open up as many compartments as possible to make it easier for you to move through. Then you're going to create the funnel on either side using a couple witches here along with the Yeti on one side and doing the same thing on the other to make it easier. Therefore, you're going to be able to start spamming in witches and Yetis. Now, you're also going to use the log launcher with your heroes. That does include the Grand Warden. While everything starts to move through, if you want to use a super wall breaker in order to break into the Eagle, you can do so as well. That way, what you're able to do is focus in by letting your heroes and the log launcher move towards the Town Hall, while the witches and the Yetis overwhelm this part of the base and going in towards the Eagle and all the other point defenses, making it easier for you to absolutely move through. If he didn't use the log launcher where the scatter shot was, then he wouldn't have been able to get to the scatter and thus ruining this attack. So you just want to be very careful of how defenses are placed. You will want to use the Warden ability over heroes, the log launcher. That way what you're able to do is preserve the log launcher health through the scatter shot, the single or multi-inferno, and other defensive structures. That way what you're able to do is get right the way over to the Town Hall. And you want to use the Yetis here in order to make sure that you are able to get through this Town Hall. And having the rage spell with the Yetis will provide big value as you're able to take it down with no problem whatsoever. Now, you can also use the Royal Champion. Normally, I would recommend using this on the back end where you're going to need it the most, like a multi-inferno. That way, you're able to pretty much get through. But the main goal is just to use the Royal Champ on the outskirts of the base to make it easier for you as you work your way through. You just want to make it simple. And in this case, when you're bringing stuff like 15 witches or even 9 witches, if you're able to keep a lot of your skeletons alive, you can have a little skeleton army if you wanted. So this is a very simple attack that is very, very powerful and thus can be used in a lot of different situations, but it is a very strong attack using the 8 earthquake spells, very similar to a very similar golem, super wizard, and witch attack that I personally like to use. If you ever thought about using super archers at Town Hall 13, you can use them with the Yetis and the bat spells. This is a Yeti Bobat mixed in with the super archers. Normally, if you are going to be using this attack, in order to look for this one, you mainly want to look at concentrated splash. Stuff like the wizard towers, the scatter shots, the eagle artillery, and also the multi-infernos are all important things to take down along with the Town Hall. These are going to be things that you want to look for, and if you're seeing mostly concentrated splash like here, you will want to take advantage of it. What you want to start off by doing is creating the funnel on both sides by using an Electro Dragon on one and maybe a Yeti and Super Archer on the other. That way you're able to easily start moving your Yetis all the way into where the Eagle area is, or just really getting as much splash as you possibly can. Other than that, you want to simply start with the Electro Dragon. You want to use a Cocoa Balloon in order to look for any Seeking Air Mines, and therefore you'll be able to use the E-Drag's chain to your advantage. You want to be able to make sure that you're able to create enough of a funnel on one side, even if the Electro Dragon dies and luckily gets the Wizard Tower with no problem at all. And that could really help you later on. So the main goal here is to then use the Yeti and also Super Archer on the other, so you can send in the Yetis with the healers along with the Super Archers and the heroes. The main goal is to use a Super Wall Breaker or two to start entering into the base. You want to mainly use the 2 Super Wall Breakers or regular Wall Breakers in order to move in with the use of a jump spell. Now you're also able to use the Royal Champ at this point because you don't need the Royal Champ with the bat spells. You can let it go in with the rest of your heroes as you're going to be able to overkill a large area of the base if used correctly. Along with this, you may want to use a battle blimp You can use this after the Warden ability that protects the Yetis, the Super Archers, and the Royal Champion as they move into other structures like the Scatter and the Eagle Artillery, as what you want to do is you want to take down the Town Hall as quickly as possible. So using that blimp, you're able to easily take care of the Town Hall. The main goal here is just to allow your Super Archers to absolutely pick over walls and take advantage of having the tanks, which is the Yetis, and of course the healers. And even if they don't really go on the inside and they mostly stay on the outside, they've done their job as a support troop. That way you can use the Yeti blimp along with the use of the Bat Wave. This Bat Wave is going to be using all the way across, and realistically the only time you're going to need a freeze spell is for the Town Hall if your bats get too close. But overall, if you take down all the splash buildings like he did here, he absolutely overkilled the base and was able to easily get through. That is how you know that this attack is very, very strong. Even if you have low level heroes, this will work really effectively because you're using bat spells. I mean, come on. What attack with lower level heroes doesn't work with the use of the bats? They are level independent, and therefore you're going to be able to easily work through because you have a lot of cleanup really left up. Yetis, you've got really the Queen, and you've got the bat spells, or the bats of course, in order to easily work your way through. And that is why bats are very, very good with the use of the Yetis and the Super Archers. However, that's not all. Let's also look at them using them in a smash attack. Last but not least, let's take a look at the Yetis with the Super Archers. This is a very simple attack, very similar to the Super Archers with the Yetis and the Bat spells. However, this can work on a plethora of different bases, including island bases, but the main goal here is very simple. All you want to do is start by using an E-Drag or some other unit to create the funnel on one side. You're going to use the lightning spells to take care of a multi or single Inferno, or you can use it on a scatter shot, though this will take 6 lightning spells, so keep that in mind. You will then be able to start using a Queen Walk or a Warden Walk, depending on if the base calls for it, and also using the Siege Barrack. Now the main goal here is to start off by using the E-Drag for funneling. You can use a Yeti in order to control where the E-Drag goes next. That way you're able to easily start creating the funnel with the E-Drag. Usually it's best to know because there might be a lot of buildings around there. You can also then use the lightning spells in order to take down the multi, the single, or the scatter shot. That way you're able to use the Electro Dragon to easily get through without having to worry, and then you can start sending in the Archer Queen along with the King and the Siege Barrack. This is going to be creating the funnel on opposite sides. That way you can send in the Yetis very cleanly into the base to already funnel them in. And you want to have the Warden go in right behind them. You can also have the Royal Champ move in with the Super Archers because they're going to be able to all work within a group together. Now, usually I would recommend having your healers on the Yetis. So if your Queen does not move in with your Yetis, your Super Archers, and your Royal Champion, you may not want to use a Queen Walk and instead use a Warden Walk. So just a tip of advice if you plan on using this. But for the most part, you do want to use the War Internal Tome early. That way you can get through a larger area of the base and make it easier for your Yetis, your King, your Super Archers, and your Royal Champion to absolutely easily move through, take down the enemy CC, and that way you'll be able to also get in towards something like the Town Hall and another scatter shot. You can also use Hog Riders in the CC in order to get through a multi-Inferno on the back end while you focus in on taking care of the Town Hall. And of course, the Super Archers can actually get through a Town Hall with no problem whatsoever, as long as they have help from an Archer Queen or Royal Champion, and that could really help them big time. Remember, they have a large range, so you do want to take advantage of it. And as you can see, unlike the previous one, we still have all of our Super Archers still up. That just goes to show how strong they are and the reasons to why you should be using them with the Yetis instead of Super Wizards or even using Bowlers, as they both have a little bit shorter ranges, unlike the Super Archer that can pick off multiple structures and making it easier for your Yetis. If you guys like what you see here, make sure to subscribe to the channel and ring the bell so you don't miss any other in-depth explanations and breakdowns in the future. And make sure to use code CORRUPT in the Clash of Clans shop. And I'll be catching you in the next video. Corrupt, signing out.